son.
Hello, everyone. I am Scott Lowe. I am joined by the lovely Steve Butts.
Hi, Scott.
And we are checking out Call of Duty Ghosts No Man's Land. This is the first extended gameplay we've seen of Call of Duty Ghosts. It was debuted this week at E3. So, Steve, what are we looking at here?
Well, we're seeing a lot of stuff right now. The Activision folks have shown us a couple of different demos. In this one, the player is following an NPC companion, which is super common for these demos. But they've also got a dog with them as they're infiltrating this forest area.
Yeah. So, the basis for the dog is that, this is based on a real Navy SEAL dog, which actually can, allow, the soldiers to see exactly what the dog sees and also give commands. So, in this case, it's actually kind of playable, so you can actually steer the dog and have it lunge at, NPCs, making it a really valuable tool for stealth.
Well, and I'm guessing also a really interesting emotional hook within the game, right? I mean, we've seen this happen before in games like Fable, where like a dog suddenly matters a lot to people in a way that another human non-player character can't.
Yeah, absolutely. And the backstory here is that this character that you're playing as, this is the one and only playable character in Call of Duty Ghosts, and the other character you see on screen here is his brother. So they're really pushing for the more kind of emotional human element of this storyline at the very least.
Well, tell us a little bit about the story. This is sort of a devastated America, right?
Yeah. So this takes place just 10 miles north of San Diego, which has been ravaged by an unknown mass event, as they're calling it. They're being very, very cagey about what exactly the circumstances of it were, but there are subtle hints here. So obviously this building is just totally destroyed or partially destroyed, and again, like some of the cool visual effects here based on this new next-gen engine they're working on.
Yeah, we get to see some of the new particle effects they've got here with the smoke and just the debris flying around in the house. It's really a very beautiful game.
Yeah.
I mean, Call of Duty's never had a problem with looking fantastic.
So here you get a glimpse at whatever this catastrophe was. It looks almost sort of like it could have been an asteroid even, or like a massive blast of some variety. But one of the things that's interesting is although you saw enemies with gas masks on, these characters are not in any sort of hazmat gear. So that kind of to me sort of rules out any sort of imminent biological or radiological threat.
Well, or maybe the characters that we're playing as are already infected with whatever it is that the other guys are trying not to catch.
Yeah, so that's actually part of the backstory as well. Is these characters have grown up in this, kind of ravaged America after 10 years after this this mass event or whatever they say so commonly referred to it as. So what's interesting here is the dog. Its name is Riley, by the way. It was revealed this week. Really, this level really demonstrates how it's being used in the campaign and possibly in the multiplayer. They didn't go into too much detail. But here you see the player taking control of the dog, and you really get a sense of what its full range of capabilities are.
Yeah, so you can see it's sort of sensing a guy behind this wall here. Yeah. So it's giving you a lot more situational awareness as the dog than you would have as a human character.
Yeah, so instead of, I kind of like to describe it as in Black Ops they have drones. In this you have a mammal
right.
That's a little more friendly to look at and a little more current day. So,
and it's also quite effective at taking guys down here or creating distractions so that you and your brother can come in and then take them out with rifles.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal takedown. I mean, he just rips their throat out. Oh, and then of course here you see you can actually lure enemies out using a bark, generated by the player, and in this case allow your AI companion to take him out for you.
Now, we will mention that the dog here is actually motion capture animation, and it's scanned from a real Navy SEAL dog, right? Yeah, so
Infinity Ward always does a lot of, or just rather all the studios that work on Call of Duty do a lot of military research, and part of it, they said, was interviewing the SEALs about their dogs, and in this case, their military advisor said that, the connection between the dog is so strong that he would take a bullet for the dog. So really interesting kind of emotional and kind of functional involvement with this new element of the game.
I will mention one thing, though, about this that bugs me, and it bugs me about most Call of Duty demos, including the levels we're seeing for Ghosts. You're playing with another character who keeps bossing you around all the time. Saying, stand here, walk over here, shoot this guy. At one point, your brother even says, don't shoot this guy, I'll shoot him. And I thought, who paid for this game? Let me shoot the guy.
Yeah, let me kill him how I want. So what's interesting here is your character has moved up a little bit, which is obviously a benefit to the player, because obviously if the dog gets too far ahead, it really becomes becomes less enjoyable for you to be catching up for all that time.
Well, in Call of Duty, I mean, the mission design has always relied on a lot of player-driven scripts. You know, you hit a certain point, you walk through a certain door, and something happens. I mean, we saw that with the steeple that fell sort of midway through this level, and all these things, I think, are triggered by the player's placement in the environment.
Yeah, and so, of course, you know, we have your typical Call of Duty set pieces, which are just awesome. these moments that are just great. And, you know, it's really exciting. But this is just the first glimpse of Call of Duty Ghosts. We'll have many more in the months to come as we near launch.
Okay. Mask on.